Ya, ayo syuting. Yuk. Aduh, kemana nih sekarang syuting nih?
Udah ada tempatnya, yuk.
Udah ada tempatnya, aduh. Lo nggak tahu tempat syutingnya ya?
Belum tahu.
Kita survei dulu ya. Aduh, dasarnya. Oke deh, guys. Kalau gitu kita cabut. Kita ketemu lagi nih episode ya. Kita ketemu lagi nih mimpi selanjutnya. Aduh, masih tetap di Urban Street Food. Jangan lupa, @streetfood_MNC. Ah, gila. Lega rasanya gua akhirnya mimpi doang. Woo! Wow! Ini apa koper apa? Ya, koper yang tadi.
Ini properti kita.
Bukan koper duit.
Duit dari mana? Ini baru gue beli.
Aduh. Iya tadi gue mimpi banget. Aduh.
Ada hubungannya juga sama ini?
Ada hubungannya sama ini.
Ya, jadi gimana?
Perempuan bencong juga ada hubungannya. Oke guys, cabut. Aduh. Akhirnya mimpi juga.
Indonesia outlines 6 priority agendas in G20 presidency. Trade Ministry officially cancels cooking oil ban. Good evening, viewers. Market Headlines is ready to provide you information from business, economic, and capital market sector. And as the pandemic is still ongoing, we will provide you the latest COVID-19 information. Please stay safe by taking some simple precautions such as physical distancing, wearing a mask, avoiding crowds, cleaning your hands, and having less mobility. And with me, Fajar Wayong, this is Market Headlines. Let's start market headlines. To ensure the readiness for the implementation of Umrah that meets the requirements of the Saudi Arabian government, the government will still detail the process of implementing the Umrah. And previously, the Minister of Religion Affairs said that the implementation of Umrah will also be the benchmark for the implementation of Hajj next year. The Saudi Arabian government Indonesian pilgrims to perform Umrah. But until now, the government is still preparing the technical departure. In the working meeting of the Minister of Religion with the People's Representative Council, it was revealed that the implementation of Umrah this time was not as simple as it seemed. The Minister of Religion Affairs, Yakut Holil Komas, explained that a series of preparations must be made, considering that the departure of Umrah pilgrims this time is the benchmark for permission to depart for Hajj pilgrims next year. In addition, the plan for the departure of Umrah pilgrims is waiting for confirmation. This is because Saudi Arabia has just reported a case of the Omicron variant of COVID-19.
Yakin bahwa kita umroh ini bisa, ya mereka akan undang kita untuk MOU. Nah, insya Allah umroh ini saya sudah minta kepada Dirjen Haji untuk bisa dibuatkan skema as possible, secepatnya. Jadi jangan terlalu lama ditunda, ngitung ini, itu jangan terlalu lama ditunda, segera diberangkatkan, supaya kita juga bisa menunjukkan bahwa Indonesia ini sudah sangat siap menyelenggarakan umroh berikut haji. Di pembicaraan kami bersama Pak Ketua ketika bertemu dengan Menteri Haji, kita sampaikan bagaimana kesiapan Indonesia dalam menyelenggarakan ibadah umrah.
The Ministry of Religion Affairs is preparing technical departures, including integrating the data in the Care Protect application or Peduli Lindungi with the Tawakalna belonging to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the integration of the vaccination system between Indonesia and Saudi Arabia. Currently, around 15,000 Umrah pilgrims have visas and are ready to depart. From Jakarta, Raharjo Patmo for IDX Channel. As stated by Minister of Finance, Indonesia has 6 priority agendas that are the focus of the G20 presidency in 2022, starting from exit strategy to support recovery to digital inclusion and international taxation. Minister of Finance Sri Mulyani Indrawati said Indonesia has 6 priority agendas that are the focus of the G20 presidency in 2022. First, related to the exit strategy to support recovery. The second agenda, addressing scaring effect to secure future growth, is to overcome the prolonged impact of the crisis by increasing productivity and long-term growth, paying attention to employment, household, the corporate sector, and the financial sector. Third, payment system in digital era.
Pada 6 prioritas agenda, yaitu pertama, exit policy. Exit policy itu berhubungan dengan semua negara di dalam situasi pandemi memang melakukan policy-policy yang sifatnya extraordinary, luar biasa, tidak biasa. Apakah dari sisi fiskal, moneter, dan dari sektor keuangan. Yang ketiga, nanti Pak Peri akan lebih bicara banyak mengenai payment system in the digital era. Ini digital technology menjadi sangat penting dan ini nanti biasanya dikaitkan dengan tema yang selanjutnya yaitu financial inclusion dan digital serta small medium enterprises. Untuk isu mengenai climate change, kita akan bicara dalam topik sustainable finance.
The fourth agenda, sustainable finance, which discusses climate risk and the risk of transitioning to a low-carbon economy. Fifth, digital financial inclusion, which utilizes open banking to boost productivity and support an inclusive economy and finance. The sixth agenda, international taxation, discussed international taxation mainly related to the implementation of the joint OECD or G20 framework on a tax planning strategy called base erosion and profit shifting. IDX Channel reports. And meantime, Bank Indonesia ensures that the synchronization of monetary policy normalization at the global level was included in the focus of the discussion of the Indonesia's G20 presidency. Governor of Bank Indonesia Peri Warjo said that the synchronization of monetary policy normalization at the global level was included in the focus of the discussion of the G20 presidency of Indonesia throughout 2022. The discussion highlighted the economies of developed countries that were recovering and were preparing to normalize monetary policy, while developing countries were still in the stage of struggling to recover the economy.
Aspek yang recover together yang sangat penting Bu Menteri tadi sampaikan bagaimana normalisasi atau exit policy dari fiscal and monetary policy is very important. Karena negara maju sudah recover dan mau normalisasi. Sementara negara berkembang masih berjuang untuk recover. Sehingga sinkronisasi menjadi penting dan bagaimana negara berkembang itu bisa mengantisipasi dampak spillover dari normalisasi negara maju. Dari emerging market, tentu saja kesiapan untuk mengatasi tapering, normalisasi, dan bagaimana global financial infrastructure atau kerjasama internasional khususnya di bawah IMF juga bisa membantu emerging market dalam mengatasi dampak dari normalisasi.
Bank Indonesia itself has clearly stated that the benchmark interest rate policy will be kept low at the level of 3.5% until there are signs of rising inflation. Furthermore, Peri said that during the G20 Indonesia presidency, the role of the International Monetary Fund in relation to the normalization of monetary policy at a global level will also be discussed. Meanwhile, the government has officially started Indonesia's G20 presidency for the financial track, starting with the Finance and Central Bank Deputies meeting. IDX Channel reports. And we're moving on to global update. Lego has announced plans to build a new manufacturing operation in Vietnam. Meanwhile, New Zealand will ban the sale of tobacco to its next generation in a bid to eventually phase out smoking. More stories on today's International Minute. Australia Deputy Prime Minister has tested positive for coronavirus after arriving in the US on an official visit. Barnaby Joyce said he believed he had been infected while visiting the UK earlier this week. He said he was now in isolation and experiencing mild flu-like symptoms. In the UK, Justice Secretary Dominic Raab and Transport Secretary Grant Shapps are both self-isolating because they had been in contact with Mr. Joyce. Both British ministers said they were taking COVID tests. Lego has announced plans to build a new manufacturing operation in Vietnam to keep up with growing demand for its products in Asia. The toy-making giant said it will invest more than $1 billion in the project, which will be near the country's main business hub of Ho Chi Minh City. It will be the Danish company's second factory in Asia after it opened a plant in China 5 years ago. The firm has seen double-digit growth in the region since 2019. France has no plans to join a diplomatic boycott of the 2022 Winter Olympics in Beijing, President Emmanuel Macron has said. Macron said any such move would be insignificant and merely symbolic. The US, UK, Canada and Australia have said they will not send government representatives to the February Games because of concerns over China's human rights record. This includes allegations of abuse against Uyghurs and other minorities. New Zealand will ban the sale of tobacco to its next generation in a bid to eventually phase out smoking. Anyone born after 2008 will not be able to buy cigarettes or tobacco products in their lifetime under a law expected to be enacted next year. The move is part of a sweeping crackdown on smoking announced by New Zealand's Health Ministry on Thursday. Doctors and other health experts in the country have welcomed the world-leading reforms. IDX Channel reports.
We'll be right back after this quick break. Stay tuned with us.
Awalnya nggak langsung yakin, tapi setelah ikut 2 kali acara edukasi Bursa Efek, akhirnya tertarik juga.
Karena mudah, saya ajarkan ibu-ibu lain, sampai anak saya juga ikutan.
Selesai dagang, saya bawa 100.000 untuk nabung saham. Hasilnya jelas sekali.
Yuk kita nabung saham sekarang.
Kementerian Pariwisata dan Ekonomi Kreatif secara tegas akan memperketat bagi para wisatawan asing yang akan liburan ke Bali.
Ya, nantinya wisatawan asing harus melakukan swab PCR sebelum keberangkatan.
Para wisatawan-wisatawan yang sehat, para wisatawan yang sudah tervaksin.
Selama pandemi, banyak armada taksi dari Taksi di Thailand menganggur.
Berencana akan melepaskan saham holding BUMN Pertambangan Main ID di Bursa Efek Indonesia.
Para petinggi negara anggota G20 sepakat untuk mengurangi pemanasan global hingga 1,5 derajat Celcius.
Kita bisa target kita maju, tetapi dengan bantuan teknologi dan investasi dari internasional.
Kementerian Keuangan menilai pemulihan ekonomi akibat pandemi COVID-19 belum berjalan secara merata di seluruh.
Pemulihan ekonomi global tidak merata.
Buat seorang Fani tertarik dengan visual merchandising.
Mengambil pendidikan itu atau tidak, itu hanya berapa persen membantunya. Tapi sisanya memang sebagai visual merchandiser itu harus bisa menganalisa atau memiliki analytic skill yang baik untuk bisa peka melihat potensi dari sebuah brand ataupun membantu kekurangan brand di dalam visual seperti itu.
Welcome back on Market Headlines. The Ministry of Trade cancelled the plan to ban the sale of bulk cooking oil from January 1st, 2022. This means that bulk cooking oil may still be circulated next year.
The Ministry of Trade cancelled the plan to ban the sale of bulk cooking oil from January 1st, 2021. This means that bulk cooking oil may still be circulated next year. The Director General of Domestic Trade, Okenduran, said that his party canceled the ban and switched sides with a public education approach. He explained that the main reason for canceling the regulation was due to the current high price of CPO commodities caused by supercycle. On the other hand, people's purchasing power has been eroded by the COVID-19 pandemic. It's okay to say that if bulk cooking oil is forced to be withdrawn from the market, it is feared that this will have an impact on the economy, which is currently just starting to recover. He admitted that currently there is no specific strategy to put a brake on the productions of bulk cooking oil in the community. With the new approach, citizens are given the freedom to choose. However, through massive education, it is hoped that the public can switch to packaged cooking oil. According to him, the Ministry of Trade will soon release a ministerial decree which is currently in the process of harmonizations. Previously, the Ministry of Trade planned to prohibit the sale of bulk cooking oil start January 1st, 2022. This is because the price of bulk cooking oil is highly dependent on the price of raw materials, namely crude palm oil. IDX Channel reports.
President Joko Widodo stressed the importance of taking action against corruption cases firmly and indiscriminately. This is not only to provide a deterrent effect to the perpetrators, but also to save state money. In prosecuting corruption cases, asset recovery and increasing non-tax state revenue must be prioritized. In this regard, the President has pushed for the enactment of the Criminal Act for confiscation of assets. He wants the drafting of the bill to be completed by next year. The President wants the method of eradicating corruption to continue to be improved and perfected.
Korupsi merupakan extraordinary crime yang mempunyai dampak luar biasa. Oleh sebab itu harus ditangani secara extraordinary juga. Penindakan jangan hanya menyasar peristiwa hukum yang membuat heboh di permukaan. Namun, dibutuhkan upaya-upaya yang lebih fundamental, upaya-upaya yang lebih mendasar, bukan hanya untuk memberikan efek jera kepada pelaku dan memberikan efek menakutkan, deterrence effect pada yang berbuat, tetapi penindakan juga sangat penting untuk menyelamatkan uang negara dan mengembalikan kerugian negara.
During the U.S. Democracy Summit, Minister of Foreign Affairs Retno Marsudi said that Indonesia expressed its commitment to continue to advance democracy and human rights, both in Asia and the world.
Indonesia expressed its commitment to continue to advance democracy and human rights both in Asia and the world. This was emphasized by Indonesian President Joko Widodo when he became the first country leader to speak virtually during a dialogue session at the U.S. Democracy Summit, which opened in Washington, D.C.
Dari pihak Amerika Serikat, KTT Demokrasi ini diselenggarakan dengan tujuan untuk merevitalisasi nilai-nilai demokrasi, perlindungan HAM, dan tata kelola pemerintahan yang baik, termasuk di masa pandemi, di mana negara dunia menghadapi tantangan yang khusus. Presiden menyampaikan, our commitment toward democracy goes beyond the border.
Retno said President Joko Widodo underlined Indonesia's belief that democracy is a universal value, but that the aspirations and specific values of the people must be preserved. In addition to driving the formations of the Asian Intergovernmental Commissions on Human Rights, Indonesia also initiated the revival of the Human Rights Dialogue. IDX Channel reports.
The Minister of Manpower, Ida Fauzia, said that only 23% of companies implemented a wage structure and scale in Indonesia. That number is claimed to be very low. According to Ida, the implementation of the structure and scale of wages will not be realized if there is no commitment from the company. For this reason, a joint commitment needed between the government and companies so that the application of the structure and scale of wages can be optimal in Indonesia. Furthermore, it does say that the structure and scale of wages needed to be implemented so that the determination of wages for employees was in accordance with the ability and productivity of the company. The government will impose sanctions on companies that have not implemented the structure and scale of wages next year. The rules regarding the application of the structure and scale of wages are contained in the Job Creation Act number 11 of 202 Article 92, which explains that employers are obliged to draw up a structure of the wage scale in the company by taking into account the company's capability and productivity. And stay with us, Market Headlines will be back with information from the capital market.
Awali hari Anda dengan informasi terkini yang kami kemas dalam berita teraktual dan berkualitas. Memberikan berbagai macam kebutuhan informasi.
Memberikan informasi ekonomi dan bisnis Indonesia juga mancanegara.
Merupakan hal penting dalam mendukung keputusan investasi Anda.
Saksikan program-program ekonomi dan bisnis terkini langsung dari sumbernya.
Datu membawakan program berita News Screen yang menghadirkan informasi seputar ekonomi maupun juga bisnis dari dalam negeri. Buat seorang Fani tertarik dengan visual merchandising.
Mengambil pendidikan itu atau tidak, itu hanya berapa persen membantunya, tapi sisanya memang sebagai visual merchandiser itu harus bisa menganalisa atau memiliki analytic skill yang baik untuk bisa peka melihat potensi dari sebuah brand ataupun membantu kekurangan brand di dalam visual seperti itu.
Wakil Presiden Maruf Amin menegaskan pengembangan industri halal menjadi salah satu fokus pemerintah dalam memajukan sektor industri di Indonesia.
Kita mampu untuk menjadi presiden halal terbesar.
Welcome back. At the Jakarta Composite Index intraday movement, earlier today, JCI was open at the level of 6,619. And then approaching the closing time on the first session, the index was on the level of 6,612.16. And then the index was showing strengthening trend by the second session closing time. Index was closed at the level of 6,652.92. And in short, JCI went up 0.14%. And let's see the sectoral movement. Leading the dynamics of today's trading, we got cyclic, went up 2.17%. Transportation and logistics went up 1.59%. Property went down 0.33%, and finance went down 0.24%. And moving on to top gainers and top losers. From the top gainers, Bank Central Asia went up 0.34% to the level of 7,375 rupiah per share. Avia went up 4.79% to the level of 875 rupiah. KBAG went up 11.76% to the level of 95 rupiah, and Bukalapak went up 3.0% to the level of 515 rupiah per share. And meantime, the top losers for today's trading, we got Bank Rakyat Indonesia went down 1.43% of 4,130 rupiah per share. Adaro went down 0.78% to the level of 1,920 rupiah per share. Merdeka Copper Gold went down 4.39% to the level of 3,700 rupiah, and BBYB went down 1.15% to the level of 2,590 rupiah. And the intraday movement of rupiah towards US dollar opened at the level of 14,322 rupiah, showing strengthening trend towards US dollar, and it was closed at the level of 14,304. And in summary, rupiah went up 0.13%. Paint manufacturer Avia Avian directly inject capital to subsidiaries after listing their shares on the Indonesia Stock Exchange. The capital injection was conducted by taking 2.83 million shares in Tirta Kencana Tata Warna, or worth 1.41 trillion rupiah.
Paint manufacturer Avia Avian directly inject capital to subsidiaries after listing their shares on the Indonesia Stock Exchange. Avia Avian's corporate secretary Kurnia Hadisinanto said the company increased its authorized capital, issued capital and paid up capital in Tirta Kencana Tata Warna, which is an entity subsidiary company. Meanwhile, this transaction was carried out on December 8, 2021. The company took 2.83 million shares in Tirta Kencana Tata Warna, or worth 1.41 trillion rupiah. Kurnia stated that the purpose of increasing Tirta Kencana's capital is for working capital of 950 billion rupiah, which includes payments to suppliers, purchase of supplies, operational costs, and other working capital. Avia Avian with the stock code Avia has listed as many as 6.2 billion shares with an offering price of 930 rupiah on the IDX on December 8. From this corporate action, the company earned fresh funds of 5.77 trillion rupiah. IDX Channel reports.
Surya Semesta Indonesia has set an aggressive target in 2022. The company targets the revenue to increase by 30 to 50%, and the bottom line is expected to return to positive.
Industrial land developer Surya Semesta Indonesia has set an aggressive target in 2022 in the hope of turning around profits. VP Head of Investor Relations Surya Semesta Indonesia, Erlin Budiman, say that the company sees the industry's prospects will be better in 2022, in line with positive developments from handling the current pandemic. Next year, revenue is targeted to increase by 30 to 50%, and the bottom line is expected to return to positive. Meanwhile, the company targets land sales in Subang Smart Politan to reach 40 hectares to 60 hectares next year. Meanwhile, the land in Surya Cipta City of Industry Karawang is targeted to be sold for an area of 20 hectares. Furthermore, the revenue from the company's subsidiary engaged in the construction sector, namely Nusa Raya Cipta, could grow by around 25%. Meanwhile, revenue from the company's hotel business is targeted to more than double from its current position to 500 billion rupiah. IDX Channel reports.
And step aside from market condition as the efforts in achieving herd immunity is still going on. Here is an update data about COVID-19 vaccinations in Indonesia. And the news close our market headlines today. Please enjoy our next program on IDX Channel, your trustworthy economic, business, and capital market channel. And to prevent the spread of COVID-19, always wear a mask and get vaccinated immediately. Masks have been shown to reduce the risk of transmission by 80%, while vaccines minimize the risk of death by 73%. So let's wear a mask and get vaccinated, because masks and vaccines keep us healthy and happy. And I'm Fajar Wayong. Have a nice evening and stay safe.
Halo Sobat Investor, berikut ini adalah beberapa tips yang bisa kalian coba untuk mencapai financial freedom. Yang pertama, pahami kondisi finansial. Kalian harus paham berapa jumlah pendapatan dan berapa jumlah pengeluaran. Yang kedua adalah tentukan tujuan keuangan agar kedepannya kalian lebih mudah untuk menyusun strategi untuk mencapai tujuan keuangan tersebut. Ketiga, carilah sumber pendapatan yang lain. Biarlah pendapatan dari aset itu bisa menutupi pengeluaran utama atau pengeluaran pokok kalian. Yang keempat adalah investasi. Kalau Anda menyimpan uang di bank, nilainya akan terus tergerus. Tetapi kalau berinvestasi, nilainya akan terus bertambah. Yang kelima dan yang terakhir adalah lunasi segala hutang. Bila Anda memiliki tagihan ataupun hutang, segeralah melakukan pelunasan kapanpun Anda memiliki uang yang cukup. Itulah beberapa tips untuk mencapai